Hello everyone, let's learn the last step of the PCB manufacturing. So far what we have done in our earlier classes, we have designed the schematic diagram and we have generated the PCB for this schematic diagram. Now we would like to, so we will just delete this one. This is not part of our design. And we will stick to our design to this one. So this is my PCB design of the given schematic. Now the last step uh, before we manufacture this PCB is to generate the Gerber file. As we all know that Gerber file contains all the necessary technical specification of the PCB, and Gerber files are generated for each of these layers. So that means the technical specification for all the layers separate we can separately produce, so that our negative, the film negative, the PCB negative of each of the layer can be generated for the production. So in order to, so this is an important step for the PCB manufacturing. And using this Proteus, we can generate the Gerber file, we can visualize the Gerber file, and if there is any error, then we can make the correction of the Gerber file. So before we generate the Gerber file, we have to make sure that there is no connectivity error, the CRC errors. There is no CRC error that related to the connections of the pins that is on the schematic, whether is there anything missing. Now we have checked previously that if there is any missing connection, that is shown here. So it is showing that no CRC errors, no connectivity errors. So this only will match your connection with this schematic. So if you are missing some connections in the schematic also, that cannot be corrected, that will not be shown, so that you have to check it by yourself. Then design rule error. So design rule, we can specify some of the design rules. We have checked for our case, we have taken the taken the default design rule, but you can change the rule, design rule, and check for the errors. So we don't have any design rule errors, and there is no CRC error. So whenever we will make sure that these two are correct, then we can go for the for generation of the Gerber file. So from the menu bar, we will select output and then generate the Gerber, and at the beginning it will do the pre-production check. So in addition to the CRC errors and DRC errors, it will look for a advanced check for before the production. So in this advanced check, it will check for the overlapping of different layers. So mistakenly we might have some layers or some of the components are overlapped, so that will be checked. So we will do the pre-production check before we do generate the Gerber file. So we will select yes, and this will be automated. Test will be done and final report will be shown, and it is showing that there is no errors, zero errors, zero fail, zero warning, and 14 passed. So that means we are ready to generate the Gerber file for the production. So we will close this one, and from here we can give this name. So final final PCB Gerber, PCB Gerber, and we want to generate this one is a, we have several options of the output file, but we will generate the single zip file. and then we need to select from this selection option, selection checklist. We have to select the required layers that we need. So we will need to have the top copper because we don't have any connection on the top copper, but there will be some drill that will be have the masking, so that top copper will be there. Then we will have definitely the bottom copper for all the connection and the uh, mm, solder masking or solder pad. And then we will have the top silk, we will have the bottom silk. There should not be any bottom silk, so we will not select any bottom silk. Top resist, bottom resist, and we will have the top paste. We don't have the top paste, we will keep it. Let's it will select. So if you don't select this one, there is no harm because it will automatically select what are the different layers in our design. Then it will give you selection in the next step. So make sure that you check these ones, run the Gerber viewer when done, so that you can see what are the different layers and do your final check. So we will make it okay, and then it is showing what are the different layers do we have in this design. So we'll keep this selection because this has already, the Proteus has already found these different layers. We'll keep these different layers and we'll make it okay. So this is the layers that we have. This is the Gerber file that has been generated by the Proteus. Now the difference between this PCB layout and this one is that each of these information of the PCB is produced according to different layers, and we can separate this layer from the other layers. So from here, if you select the different layers, it is showing all the different layers. We can individually select one of each. So top layer. So if you take a look, we have only the drill mask on the top layer, and the name is showing on the top with the top layer. Now, if you select the bottom layer, it will show all the connections and the solder mask is showing. And then if we select the top silk, then all the component levels and symbols are shown on the top silk. And then the bottom silk, there should not be anything on the bottom silk because no component is in the bottom silk. Then we have top resist, all the top resist similar to the drill at the top copper, but this one will be on the, this is the green of the it is not the copper on top of the copper it will be produced. And in this way we can select all the different layers. We can individually get the information of all the different layers and the drill holes. Finally, all the drill holes can be seen. So you can see the size of the drill hole or the spacing of the drill hole, and you make sure that everything is correct. And if you want to see all the layers, select all the layers, and this is the all the layers, and you can check each of these different layers whether they are correct. So this is the final step before we are going for the manufacturing of the PCB, and this Gerber file that is stored in the in our desired folder. So we will show you what is the Gerber files are generated for our design. So we'll go for the assessment, then we will go for the project and the final submission, and we can find out this is the final Gerber, and these are the different files has been created. And these files we need to send this zip folder, we need to send to the manufacturer for manufacturing so they can check. So this is platform independent, so it can also be, it is not required that the manufacturer should have the Proteus. They can open it with their own software. This is the Gerber file is the platform is not dependent on the platform. You can use any kind of viewer to view this Gerber file. One you can also use one of the common Gerber file, one of the common so we will so this is the online service. So Gerber viewer, so PCB Investigator Online, you can log in, do registration, uh, giving you some necessary information. You can register, then you can log in. We'll use my personal password, my personal email for logging in, and okay, I can save it. We can start view, and from here you can open this zip file, load. This might take some time, but also similarly you can check you different layers. So you can check one of the layer and you can view what is that layer look like. So we have this one. This is the top layer, and then we can see the Gerber. So I will just show you the Gerber file. Let's see the Gerber for the drills, solder resist. Where is that drill? Solder resist. This is the drill. No, solder resist. Copper. Assembly. This is the drill, so we can check the drill and we can remove, deselect this one. So these are the drills. So this Gerber file is actually the platform independent, so that the manufacturer should, if the manufacturer is not having this particular software that you have used, then also they can extract the information of your PCB design and generate their PCB, generate your PCB. Okay, so this was the last thing that we need to know for manufacturing of electronic PCB design for